shit, Daddy's back. Welcome back, boys and girls, ladies and gents. It's another Glad You Made It episode. It's another So-So production. We're doing it on Monday, January the 30th, 2023. Thank you very much. Oh, what's up? I miss you guys. Miss you gals out there, wherever you are in and around this beautiful planet, aka the blue marble. We're floating today. Oh man, I'm so excited to be back. Not gonna lie, fagger. Like, where were you? Where were you? Oh, I'll tell you in a minute. I'll tell you in a second. Today's gonna be a loose day. All right, boys and girls. If you're just joining me today, if it's your first time, buckle up, buckle down. Follow me on Instagram. Subscribe on YouTube for the full-length videos. Check out the patreon.com/RobSadri. Oh my God, I'm so excited to be back. I'm so excited to be back, boys and girls. And if you've been with me from the get-go, you know what it is. We keep it loose. We shoot from the hip. We all over the place, but I'm just okay. All right. Oh man. Here's what's gonna happen today. We're getting back on the old pony. You know, spank my ass and call me cowboy. We're gonna just ride that little bad boy nice and slow. We're gonna get through some hurdles. We're gonna talk about this, that, and the other. Get in our feelings a little bit. After all, today's maybe a more of a little bit of a rendezvous, if you will. It's a family gathering. It's a gathering of the syndicate, if you will. Globally speaking, wherever you are, if you're in Toronto, if you're in West Coast down there in Vancouver, if you're south in the US, further south in Mexico, South America, Europe, Asia, Africa, Antarctica, Papua New Guinea, New Zealand, Australia, Indonesia, Thailand, doing it. What's up? Anywhere in the islands. Boys and girls, Daddy's back. Almost at 100%. Not quite. But we'll get into it, man. They wanted to take my badge. They're like, hand in your badge and your puns. Because I don't got guns, but puns all day, every day. They're like, hand in your badge and give us your puns, man. And that's why I'm like, Sarge, let me go in. I'm ready. And Sarge was like, no, you best be taking a week off. I was away for a week. Not of my own accord, of course, not of my own will. But it had to happen. Your boy got is what happened. I'll get into it. We're gonna have some fun today. And again, today's just about riding the pony once again. Riding that little horse that we call life. Trying to tame it. Or not, because we love them wild horses too, I'll tell you that much. It's where do I even begin? Where do I even start? They got your boy, man. They got your boy. You know? They try to poison me. I don't know. Who was it? I'm just gonna I'll keep my eyes open, but who was it? Was it the Chinese? Was it the Chinese Communist Party that tried to poison your boy? Was it the dirty Iranians? Not the man. I love the Iranians. Happen to be one myself, Canadian Iranian, but who was it? Was it the Russian Communist Party that tried to poison your boy? Or was it North Korea? Or was it somewhere else? And who was it? What kind of poisoning? The worst kind. I'm not talking about you got some sort of political adversary, you're gonna put a little bit of this, a little bit of that on the doorknob. No, sorry, Bob. This was a regular case of the old classic food poisoning. Who was it? Fam? I don't even know. I'm gonna, I don't try to eat a meal outside. I try to avoid it is what I'm trying to do. I try to eat as much as I can from the indoors, from the households. But every once in a while, your boy's out there hustling and grinding, like many of you guys and gals out there, doing a little bit of the day job, doing a little bit of this thing and that thing. And then in the midst of all of it, you're like, man, I'm getting hungry. Better stop somewhere, better pull over, better pull up somewhere and grab a bite to eat. And I did. Now, and I'm not the type that enjoys pointing fingers, multiple fingers. Well, I'm not a fingering kind of, I've dabbled in fingering, not gonna lie. But you're like, who was it? I don't know. I'll just say this. I don't want to put anybody on there. I'm not saying it's definite that it was from that one. But man, let's just say this. The name of the establishment starts with a W, ends with an Andes. Thank you very much. A little, I'm like, this happened last week. Saturday, I was out doing my day work, to pay the bills, to do the grind and the hustle, to do the shuffle, if you will. I'm just like doing my thing, doing my shifts outside, and I got hungry. I'm like, you know what? Let's pull up somewhere. And there happened to be a Wendy's. Oops, Wendy's. And I'm like, let me grab a bite to eat. And I looked at the menu. And your boy's on a budget. Boy's on a tight budget. So I'm like, $5, $6, $10. Let's try to like save a buck. Let's just get a little teeny tiny wrap, $2 and some change. And then we'll be back home in the evening where we can eat supper properly. And I had a little sandwich. I had a little chicken wrap. No big deal. Come home. Sunday, I'm feeling a little bit like just not 100%. And I felt to myself, I'm like, you know what, just take a day off. Take a little breather, and everything's gonna be a-okay. But that's when everything turned upside down, inside out. Boys and girls, I'm telling you, some call it food poisoning. It's I like to look at things, half glass half full mentality. Was it a food poisoning sesh, or was it a deep spiritual, physical, mental cleanse? Thank you very much. Yes, it was a cleanse, because it's so easy to look at things and be like, you got food poisoning because you try to save a couple of dollars and you went for like the cheapest item on the menu. But like, what's money got to do with anything? It's still got to be hitting certain standards and what have you. But nonetheless, man, that's what happened. I got food poisoning. So Sunday into the AM, coming to Monday at around 3 in the morning, your boy's just like, do we feel like throwing up a little bit? Is there something like that just doesn't feel right? Is there a little bit of something that's on your, do you want to get something off your chest? Do you want to get something off your stomach? And I did that, and became one with the toilet bowl. Not gonna lie, it was beautiful, because it had been a while since I've actually hugged my toilet bowl that closely, like a long lost lover. Oh, just two hands around the old neckaroo and just giving it all I got. 7-8 times I want to say I threw up. It was beautiful. It was nice. At the end, I had nothing left. I gave it all, and that's what I do, baby. Anything I put my mind to, anything I put my body or spirit to, I give it 100%. If we're gonna be yakking, we're gonna be yakking everything. I'm not gonna hold back. Once, twice, no thank you. I'll go 7-8 times. There's nothing left but water at that point. But it felt good. You know how you feel good right after throwing up? That felt great, fantastic. But overall, I took it. It was a weird week. Not gonna lie to you, and we'll get into it. Today's a day of emotions. Today's a day of feelings, perhaps. And again, it's one for the family, really. Today's just, again, we're getting back on the old pony. Good Lord. So ended up 7-8 times throwing up. Lost a lot of water. Lost all the food that I've consumed, which was, it's what it is. It's fine. I'm feeling okay now. But the whole process was, man, one thing that I realized over this past week, that I wasn't able to do everything that I like. My podcast, coming out here, touching base with the fam, going out there, attending to my day job, and not being able to do any work really refreshed it in my own mind, reminded me that how much I'm an addict. I'm an addict to, like many of you guys and gals. I like to keep busy. I like to do things. I like to be up and running, functioning. And give me a day off, give me 2 days off, all right. But a whole week of not being able to do what I like to do, my goodness. Was it difficult? Yes. Are there more difficult things in this world? Not really. You're like, what about people that go to war? Is there more? I don't know. Can't speak on anybody else's experience. Was this difficult? It was a little bit agitating. It was a little bit irritating, because I'm just sitting there. And you look outside, and everybody's out there. They're doing their work. You look on on the lines, everybody's doing their work. Everybody's as much as everybody can, right? And it just seems like it felt like, to me, it felt like, oh man, I'm not, again, it's like coming into the old police station as a police officer would. You're like, oh, what's the next assignment, Sarge? And the Sarge is like, hand in your badge, hand in your puns. You're going to be taking a week off. You've been going way too fast, way too loose. You've been going way too hot. You've been going way too cold. And you're like, man, but I can keep going while talking to the sergeant and just like shooting up the whole police station as regular police officers do when they're speaking with their superior and what have you. It's just like, flip the old guns around and, oh, what is this? What is it? Sarge, what's the next assignment? And they're like, no, you need to take a break. You've been costing the old department. You've said too many, sure, you caught a couple of bad guys. You caught a couple of good guys too. And did you set half the streets in the city on fire? Absolutely. It's gonna take $100 gajillion to get back to normal because of you, but for some reason we keep you on the force. And for that I thank them. I'm not on the force. I would have loved to been part of a force, like I'm not a forceful guy. Very soft, very mushy, but and I've not even seen Star Wars, so I could say may the force be with you, but I really don't know what that means. I think it's all about like positive vibrations, something about fathers and sons, I'm assuming. Anyway, point is, fam, I was sidelined and I wasn't too happy about it. I was just like, oh, I want to be up and running and doing my things. First, there's the selfish reason, of course, because I love doing my work. Whether it's the beautiful podcast that I come and try to create and, have a little bit of a relationship with the folks outside, or whether I'm outside attending to my day shift, attending to my day job, trying to pay the bills and what have you. It was just a little bit of like, unwanted time off, essentially, is what it was. But that's what it is, man. I got into my feelings a little bit. Your boy, once when push comes to shove, I might just I might just shed a couple of tears. You don't know me like that. I might just shed a couple of tears, and sure, I got in my feelings, shed a couple of tears like a G, like a gentleman. Oh, snot bubble city, baby, just right there. I want to be working out. Just crying a little bit. Which was nice. It was, I think it was, again, a combination of throwing up, not having much inside me, losing a lot of water, losing food, going back and forth, having a fever, and then getting really cold. So that was nice. Cold. Oh, shivering, teeth just hit. Oh, it's just painful, but nice at the same, because it's like, oh. You do hear always people talking about, do a little bit of like hot, do a little bit of cold, some people, they take ice baths. Some people, I go straight up. I take it far, dude. I go, dry ice. I take, cause like you could do ice baths or you could just do dry ice. You could do dry ice, and that's what I do. I do dry ice, 10-15 minutes dry ice, everything falls off. And then I do 10-15 minutes in a volcano, dude. You don't know me. I'll get in there with the lava, with the magma. And that's because people are like, oh, do hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. I do the extreme, dude. Extreme. And that's like, I'll lose a nip. I'll lose a nut. But I'll find it again. And, just trying my best is all I'm trying to say. But the point is, ladies and gents, let me get a sip of this. I'm so excited to be back. Thank God. Super excited to be back. But yeah, I went through a little phase of just like having to like sit back and watch everybody else do their beautiful work, man. Extremely grateful to be alive, extremely happy to be just like living this beautiful life. Today is a Monday. It did reignite something inside me, and it wasn't in need of a reignition. But I was always like, I've been going at this. I haven't actually taken any time off for at least like I don't think we've ever taken time off, really, doing the podcast for over the past 2 years and some odd months here. I don't think I've ever taken maybe a day, but I've never taken a week off. So this was a new little experiment, but it was just nice to watch other people do their thing. I watched a few movies here and there. I watched a few comedy shows here and there, and it just like reignited. Not that it even needed reignition, like I said, but man, it's like I love this shit. I'll die for this shit. I'll if I don't have to die, like I don't want to die. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like when it comes down to putting it on the lines, I'm on there. Like I'm on the lines, baby. And it's just good to be back. But it was just like one of those like situations where you're like looking at the outside, looking at yourself. You want to be participating in your own little way, and whatever, man. You got to take some time off. But I went to the doctor. Let's recap a little bit of what went down. So I threw up. The next morning, I get up and go to the doctor. She checks out all the old orifices, and sure enough, yes, you've got a fever, you're burning up, take some time off. But that's the thing, and I hate going to the doctor. I hate going to the hospital. I hate going to any sort of medical facility. I even don't like going to the dentist. Any sort of medical facility, I'm not a big fan. And it just like, the smell of it all, the look of it all, the feel of it all, it's just like, it's sickening. It makes me sick. So I try to avoid it as much as I can unless it's a necessity and I need to step into one of these facilities. And I do that. And I'm always conscious of these, like, you go in there, you've got something. I know I had something. But going in there, it's like, there's a vibe to it. It's a place of sick people like to go to medical facilities, right? And in the back of my mind, even though I know it's not true, I've got this like, I'm like, I've already got something, but now there's a good chance I'm going to be exposed to other things that I may not be wanting to expose myself to, i.e. to older, beautiful, wiser ladies sitting in the old medical facility waiting room and just coughing up a storm. There was a couple of ladies. One was probably in her 60s. The other one was probably like 1,000 years old, just masked up, having little cat naps in the waiting office and the waiting area of the old medical facility. And she's just like, she's dozing off and cat napping, and in the middle of the cat nap, she'll get up and give you the moist, wet, phlegm-filled cough, and doze off again into a beautiful dream. And I'm just like, oh my god, I want whatever she's having, wear it upside down world, so get the fuck away from me, lady. And she was far away, but still, I'm just like, get away, get away. Don't like it, but that's what it is, man. You go in there, the doctor checks you. The doctor checked me, check it out. We did check it out, and she's like, yeah, it seems to be a case of food poisoning. They try to get you, and I'm like, who was it, doctor? Tell me. She's like, it doesn't matter who it was. What's matter is what's in front of you right now. I'm like, what's in front of me right now? Food poisoning, she said. Food poisoning. Get some rest. Take some, Tylenol cold medicine. Take some gravel so you don't throw up. And that was nice. So I threw up a lot, took the gravel, got constipated for a week, didn't take a shit probably for like 5 days. Monday to Friday, no shits. And little by little, I was eating stuff, so I'm just like, where's it all going? I don't even know. How does gravel even work? Who knows? And she also prescribed me this little drink, this little, man, it's disgusting, I'll tell you that. It was a drink. It's supposed to like give you nourishment. It's supposed to, if you electrolytes. Did you lose sodium? Did you lose potassium? You need a little bit of sugar in that tank? What you need? That's what it was, man. And I remember going into the pharmacist, and he's like, yeah, try to take this in small sips, he said. Try to take this in small sips. And I was too I was in the middle of a fever. I wasn't really thinking. I could have just gotten regular Gatorade, regular Powerade, because it's pretty much the same thing. But no, I had to just like, I'm here. And the pharmacist just gave me what you got. And I take this orange liquid medicine drink, and he's like, yeah, take small sips. I get home, I open this bad boy up, I pour a regular healthy cup of this liquid hydration thing, and I go to take a gulp, and it stinks. It smells like medicine, and I take a sip, and it was disgusting. I couldn't even have more than a sip. So, looking back retrospectively, the pharmacist is like, try to take small sips. I dare anyone outside try to take big sips. I dare you. I dare you to take big sips off that disgusting liquid, whatever it was. It's still sitting in my fridge. I literally got maybe half a sip, and I'm like, not happening. No thanks. And here we are, man. It is Monday. It is Monday. It feels good. It feels good to be back. What else is going on? So many things, man. And I'll tell you what, it was weird because, my whole digestive system got messed up in terms of no bowel movements, which was no bueno. Lost boners, no boners for a week. Just on Friday, maybe Saturday, this past Friday, I just started get back up again. I'm like, yes, because it was just oh man. When you're sick, I don't know about you guys, I don't know about you ladies, but man, my dick just shriveled up and just it looked like it wanted to just pack up and leave. Not having it, and I'm looking at it whenever I step into the bathroom to, use the facilities, and I'm just everything's looking so sad right now. When you got sick dick, you know what I'm talking about. Because dicks are I can't really speak for anybody else, but from experience, when everything's running normally, it's we're medium-sized, regular-sized, not too small, not too big, hanging, doing our thing. But when you get sick, it's just shrivels up, it goes inside, it retracts, it seems smaller, it seems weak. And I'm just whatever's happening, and overall is not a good pick, but I know we'll be getting back and recovering in a few days. And I did get a boner on the weekend, which was nice. And even prior to the whole debacle with the whole food poisoning situation, I gotta tell you, normally I'll you'll masturbate every once in a while, but it had been a while, maybe a few days, maybe even up to a week, that I was just busy with work, hadn't really had time for myself, if you know what I mean. And then the sickness hit, so I was just going maybe around 2 weeks of not feeling anything, just when you're sick and you've been busy with work and everything else, not feeling sexy, none of that jazz. But over the weekend, I made up for it. I made up for it over the weekend. As soon as Saturday evening, Sunday morning came around, I started to feel a little bit better. And definitely popped a few boners, which was nice. And I'm like, yes, we're back, baby. We're back. Felt good. There's nothing more alarming than being sick for a week and just looking at your shriveled dick, and just everything looks sad. Everything looked sad. I was just I called my mom, long distance phone call to the old lady, and just cried a little bit over the phone. I miss my mom. I haven't seen her in a while, which was, I'm just won't you stay with me on the line for a second? I'm just blowing snot bubble after snot bubble, and it's fine. At the end of the day, it's fine. Big boy. I'm a big kid, big man, no big deal. But overall, it was just combination of fever, combination of getting the shakes, combination of losing water, losing food, not being able to eat. Feeling a little bit lonely, feeling a little bit just I'm not working. It's not my comfort zone to just be sitting and not be doing anything whatsoever. That's not me. And I felt a little bit like dog shit. So but that's what it is, baby. You can't always be, you can't always be like not feeling like dog shit. And for the majority of times, we're definitely not feeling like dog shit. I'll tell you that. Feeling great majority of the times, and it's good to have those rainy days. It's good to have those icy days. It's good because then you come out and you're like, man, I love sunshine. I love rainbows, butterflies, and everything else in between. Let me appreciate it, and I appreciate it. So it was just one of those like reminders of and take care of yourselves out there, but you guys and gals know what you're doing, and I say this out loud so that maybe I hear it myself. I don't take, I don't mistreat myself. I don't have any. I live a relatively balanced life. Sure, there is definitely, I got my vices. I smoke the old cigs. I drink the old coffee. I like to smoke my weed. But asides that, I'm relatively, for myself, relatively speaking, healthy. Could it be better? Which one of us can't do better in terms of health? So yeah, absolutely. It was just one of those reminders that, if you can, take a little bit better, maybe eat a little bit healthier, maybe, do whatever it is. And I'm not here to tell you guys and gals what to, but it's just one of those reminders that like, oh man, health is super important. But at the same rate, I gotta tell you, this was the first time that your boy really, got sick in like 2-3 years. I can't even remember the last time that I got sick. So whatever. At the end of the day, it's got really nothing to do with me not taking care of myself or me not taking it slow or fast or whatever. I'm doing everything that I can in my power to be productive, stay as healthy as I can, and still enjoy life as much as I can. And with that being said, I just want to, if you're out there for whatever reason, if you had a rough week, or maybe maybe you're having a rough day or a rough week this week or whatever, I just want to, let you know that you're not alone out there. I think one of the biggest reasons why I started this podcast was to be, for myself and others out there, to remind us that yes, the world needs more love. We're all very dependent on each other. We're squishy little beings, just soft, mostly made up of water and mush, and we're all dependent on each other. So take care of yourselves out there, and yes, if you're dealing with a little illness or a little sickness, I hope you get through it quickly. I hope you recover. If you're tip top, if you're feeling great, fantastic, keep on marching through. And yeah, whatever you're doing, whether you're pursuing your academic career or your career or whatever else you're doing out there, I wish you guys and gals the best of luck out there. And we're doing it together, man. It's one little baby step at a time, but it's easy to lose sight of that. Especially, I know a lot of us, if I'm being 100% honest, if it was up to me, and thank God it's not up to me. Thank God that a lot of things aren't up to me. You know what I mean? A lot of things you do your part, and then the rest of it you just gotta let the good forces of the universe, I guess, take care of it for you. And yeah, if it was up to me, I'd want to have done this, that, and the other, maybe 5, 10, 20 years earlier or whatever. What I'm trying to say is that I've always, in the back of my mind, for me, I always feel like it's not true either, and I know it's not true, but I always feel like there's a little part of me that feels like maybe you didn't start early enough. You didn't, or somehow I feel like maybe due to whatever reasons in my own life and my own timeline and the way I've experienced things, sometimes I feel like I started late. I feel like I'm a late starter in certain things. And I try to do things and I guess have things under my control as much as I can, like anybody else out there. But as things happen, and then as life unravels and sometimes throws you those curveballs, your plans might get a little bit, delayed or what have you. And in your mind, it's so easy for us to just be like, oh, I know I'm like this. I'm my own hardest critic. So I come down on myself. I'm like, oh, you lost a week of work. You're a piece of shit. You're gonna be. But I know these things aren't true. And as I'm going through it, I'm saying these things to myself because I am so hard on myself. And I know a lot of people feel the same way, because you're like, oh, it's a world of it's a difficult, it's not an easy world. It's not super difficult or anything. At least, from where I'm sitting, in terms of like, if you're living in North America, if you're living in Western society, life is pretty gooch. But at the same rate, there's this constant, everybody's got this drive, everybody's got this, or at least you want to have this drive, this motivation to go out there, get it, conquer it, like fucking. And sometimes we lose sight of the fact that at the end of the day, we're squishy humans. We're mushy humans. We are flesh and bone. We are just, we're not robots. Definitely tell you that. And sometimes, things don't go according to plan. And it's okay to take a step back. It's okay to be like, you know what? It's not. And I know these things are on a regular basis when things don't go off schedule. I'm completely, zen with this shit. I'm like, yeah, you're on the right path. You're doing the little things that you can. You take it day by day, one small step at a time. All these good things. Do as much as you can, and then the rest of whatever you can't control, don't worry about it. All these things that we say to ourselves, all these things that we practice, and obviously easier said than done when things are going well. But when things don't go well, that's the time when I hope that people, and myself included, I'm saying this really out loud, take it easy on yourselves. Not, you know what I mean? I hope this makes sense. Give love to yourself, essentially, is what I mean. I'm very, very, very hard on myself, and but I don't even know any other way to do it. I don't know any other. I've never been any other way, since I was a kid. Whatever I was doing, whether it was a subject in school that was really interesting to me, I'd really put in like 100%. If it was a sport that I was into, put in 100%. If it was work that I got into later on, I put in 100%. And in moments where I feel like I've fallen short or not achieved what I wanted to achieve or whatever, and it's most of it is just in our heads, I come down really hard on myself. And yeah, I just had a week of, getting in my damn feelings, like a big old, it wasn't even like a long period either. It was maybe like half a day, maybe an afternoon of just like, oh, I'm not, things aren't going my way. Things aren't going my way. There's nothing I can do about it. I gotta sit on the couch and I just gotta rest up, and there's nothing I can do about it. And it was frustrating, really frustrating. So I had to remind myself that this is, again, a long journey. This whole life is a journey. This isn't, and I know this to be true, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, all of it. And I enjoy every aspect. I try to enjoy every aspect of it, and I don't try to look at a particular goal or end goal or anything to be like, oh, you gotta hit this thing to be. Genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, I'm so grateful to be able to do this, come be a part of your lives, and I'm very thankful for you guys and gals out there for letting me be a part of your life as well. It really means a lot to me. And I guess a big portion, one of the biggest portions that was bothering me, forget about the selfish reasons of like, I do this, and I've said this from the get-go, I do this for me and then everybody else out there. I don't, that's the way it's fun for me. I love doing this. But as a person, I guess and I'm very new to all of this, storytelling, wanting to make jokes and everything and all that jazz. I feel a responsibility. I feel and it's a small audience, but nonetheless, I was feeling like shit because I'm like, every week I go in there and like people tune in and again, as small as the audience may be, I really don't care about the numbers in terms of like, I don't compare myself to anybody. It matters to me because I'm like, even if one person was relying on this video this week on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and I wasn't able to deliver, that portion left me feeling like, man, it made me feel like, again, no bueno. But nonetheless, man, I think at the end of the day, we're all human. We're all trying our best. And yeah, it was a good reminder. It was a good reminder too sometimes, because again, I've not really had any time off from doing podcasting and storytelling. So it was just nice to be like, you know what, I'm going to let go of the wheel and sit back and just enjoy life as much as you can enjoy life while you're being a little bit under the weather. But that's just, that's the journey I went on, and it was eye-opening, and I'm ready to bounce back again. I'm not 100% back to where I'd like to be. It's gonna take probably up to another. I just still feel a little bit like, I'm just literally getting back. Even on Sunday, it was the first day after a week where I started to feel like, okay, getting a little bit more juice in the old bod, getting a little bit more energy. I feel like it's gonna be, it's gonna be a slow easing into it. Let's just say this: I'm not gonna, push myself too hard this week. Thank you guys and gals for, being a part of my life, and thank you for coming in every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, spending some time with your boy, and letting me talk about this, that, and the other with you guys and gals out there. So whatever you're doing out there, take it easy, but also, like, don't take it easy, because I know how you guys are. I know how you ladies are out there. I know, we're all trying. We're all just like, pushing forward, and we don't, it's, we do live in a world where it's like, yes, you got to go out there and get it on your merits. You got to go out there and do things. A lot of things are individual, whether you're running a business, whether you are, again, doing your studies, getting a degree or whatever, everything to a large degree, it does fall on individuals' shoulders. And it's, but at the end of the day, we are a community. We're a global community. We're all relying on each other to do our little parts. And yeah, I feel blessed. I feel amazing in terms of having access and ability to do what I want to do. And sure, sometimes it gets a little bit bumpy. The roads may be a little bit, winding here and there, but that's what it is, man. That's life, and I love every bit of it. I love the challenge of it. And yeah, I'm just super happy to be back, super excited to be doing what I love. I'm sorry if I didn't mean to really I hope this doesn't sound like, because honestly, I feel great. I don't want it to be like, I've got literally zero self-pity. I've got no, I'm just sharing where I am, I'm just sharing what I'm experiencing. And I think that's important because, I wish I could sit in front of you guys and gals. I wish I could sit in front of you guys. I wish I could stand up in front of you guys and tell you that I am invincible, but reality of the matter is we're human. None of us are invincible, man. I wish I had those abilities where I was superhuman, where I was not impacted by the, daily ups and downs of life. I wish I could tell you that certain things don't impact me. I wish I could say that I don't get sick. I wish I could say that I'm so strong that I don't cry, or and I don't think, I don't see those as, I don't see it as weakness or strength. I think it's just a human experience. Yeah. But a part of me does, in terms of being there for people, as much as there's I try to be very objective, and I always try to be very honest. There's definitely reasons why I do this, and it brings me joy. And again, I've said this and I reiterate it because that's genuinely, I love this. This is so fun for me. Trying to come up with a joke or a story is, you guys, it's the world. It means the world to me. But aside from that, the biggest thing after that is I genuinely love doing it for people, for whoever is willing to, open up their hearts and ears and their just whatever, man, their minds. And yeah, so it's just like, I felt a little bit weird not being able to do what I wanted to do. But I'm back and we're doing it little by little. That's fine. We're going to be taking it nice and easy. And there's so many wonderful things going on in and around this beautiful planet, boys and girls. Enough about my emotions and feelings. But again, if you are out there feeling whatever, if you feel like maybe you're a late starter, if you feel like maybe things didn't go your way, I'm just saying this out loud because I know it to be true in my heart of hearts. Everything, for the most part, I really do believe happens for a reason, and I think sometimes it may not be easy to see in the moment when things aren't going your way, or like, man, this thing should have happened whenever, whatever that may be for you, But you give it enough time, a week goes by, a month goes by, a year goes by, 2 3 years goes by, and then everything else starts to fall into place, and you're like, okay, this is actually, we're on the right path where everything is supposed to be, everything is perfect essentially at the end of the day. That's what I'm trying to say. Sometimes it's like we're all eager. Who doesn't want to have achievements sooner than later? Who doesn't want to have maybe success sooner than later? Who doesn't want to feel like they're on top of their tasks? You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, as much as we like to push ourselves and push each other, I think it's important to realize, yes, we are all human. We're all just made of flesh and bones, man. And that's thank you for listening to me. Thank you for letting me come in here and share all these thoughts and stories with you guys, whether it's my personal life, whether it's something happening on the outside. We're all doing it together, man. And I'm just very grateful. That being said, let us move on to some man, oh man, that's what it is, baby boys. It's just, it feels, we're good. I feel good. I hope you guys are feeling good. A lot of things are happening and exciting. Let's move to some stories that I heard that are exciting, weird, but exciting nonetheless. Scientists have recently been reported to have created a robot that goes from liquid form to solid form, which was fascinating. Very Terminator-esque vibes. And it just, there's a little robot. I don't know if you guys and gals have seen it, but it melts and it goes from liquid to solid form. It's cray-cray. And this is great, man. This is great. And I love technology. I love a little bit of it. It does scare me, but that's all. I'm always a little bit scared of technology, but at the same rate, I love it as well. It could be used for many things, It could be used for delivering medicine. You're like, what's wrong with the old school methods of delivering medicine? Nothing. But didn't you ever look at your robots and be like, man, I wish my robots could melt and provide medicine? Well, now they do. Now they can. Which is pretty weird, because the good thing is when you need it, it's like, okay, we need this medicine to be like, it's in an intricate little spot, and it needs to be, delivered to a particular location that we may not have access to using, I guess, needles and syringes and what have you, or IVs or whatever. You're like, let's just give it to this melting robot. Let's give a little bit of medicine to this melting robot and just, let the robot do its thing. And that's when the robot, it'll be like, I don't know, I guess it's in the initial stages right now, but eventually I'm assuming the robot will be like, do you want to take your medicine? And you'd be like, not really. No, what kind of medicine are we talking about? And before you know it, before you have a chance to figure out or gather more information, this robot could potentially melt, go seep in through your dick hole or your vag lady, deliver the medicine, and then just kind of shoot itself out of your asshole or your tear ducts or your tits if you're a lady, because those are also entry points and exit points, not for guys, but for ladies. You know what I mean? So it's like, are you ready to take your medicine? What kind of medicine are you talking about? And it's, before you know it, it's right inside you, which is nice. I don't know. It's weird. I like it. A little bit afraid, but then again, I'm always a little bit afraid of tech, a little bit interested. It's this whole dance that we do with technology. Other uses for this robot, if you're maybe you're maybe you're running late on some payments or whatever, and you're like, man, I'm just gonna get inside my home and lock up the doors and not answer any phone calls, or and if anybody knocks on the door, I'm not gonna open the door either. And next thing you know, this robot shows up, knock knock on your door, you're like, oh, no one's home, go away. And you probably shouldn't say that because they'll hear you. But nonetheless, this robot will just like melt, seep in under the door, come out on the other side, serve you your papers, whatever the papers may be. You've been served. Thank you very much. And, melt, seep away, and just off into the sunset as well. I love robots. I love tech. A little bit just, a little bit cautious. It's good to be cautious. It's good to be vigilant. It's good to be on the lookout. And yeah, man, that's life. We're evolving, boys and girls, little by little. We are getting closer and closer to merging with technology and becoming tech. We are tech. When will we achieve singularity? I don't know. Are we close to it? Seems like every day we're getting closer and closer. Is it a little bit scary? Of course, because it's like, oh, what about the mushy, squishy humans? What about these guys and those gals out there with the nice tits? You're like, the robots can have nice tits. Yeah, but it's fake robot tits. No fun. Unless, yeah, they're no fun. I've never experienced it, but I like regular tits. For me, this guy, regular tit guy, this guy right here. Fake robot tits, until it's like, I don't even know what I'm saying, but I'm not ready for it. But yeah, sure. Is it nice to get medicine in different format? Absolutely. Maybe. I don't know. What else is going on, boys and girls? This one, this isn't the happiest of news or stories, but it is, I saw it over the weekend. I saw it over the time that I was sick and just like, on the lines, watching this, that, and the other. It's a story that is, it's unfortunate, man. It sucks. This is not something that I'm definitely not happy about. Talking about I'm sure some of you guys and gals out there might have seen the Tyre Nichols videos that were distributed online, or I guess published online, and I'm not too familiar with the story, but unfortunately I believe it was on January 7th of this year that Tyre Nichols, a young man, was driving home. He gets pulled over by police officers. Unfortunately, unfortunately, long story short, you guys already know what it is. He loses his life. The 5 police officers unfortunately beat this young man to death, and I saw that, and it was just like, oh, this is no bueno, man. This sucks. This is not good in any facet. And it just, the reason why I wanted to talk about it is, first of all, genuine condolences to the family of this young man and the community as well. I believe it went down in Memphis, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, so 5 police officers really, they pulled this young man over, 29 years old. For some odd reason, they weren't able to just talk it out or like figure a better way to deal with the situation, and they ended up beating this young man to death, which just sucks. Absolutely dreadful situation. When I first saw it, I was just like, man, why does this kind of stuff happen? Here's the thing. This is a horrible situation. This is terrible. I'm not trying to like make any light of the situation. It sucks. It absolutely sucks. I believe the 5 officers have already been they're being dealt with. I don't know I don't know the details or anything, but it's just like, why does this stuff happen? I think maybe it's because, man, we don't. This isn't even about like race or ethnicity or anything like that. I think we got to just do a better job at like talking and also listening. I really thought about this over the weekend. I'm like, what else could we be doing out there together as a species, so that we could lessen these circumstances, these situations like this? How do we prevent them from happening? And if it's one thing that we've been gifted that differentiates us between other animals is our ability to talk and listen. You know, other animals may be able to do the same thing, but with limitations, whereas we've got these gifts of being able to talk and listen. So it's just like, it saddens me to see this, like everybody else out there who saw this, and again, the family members who are impacted by all of this. This is horrendous. I hope it doesn't happen again. But for us to, this is a complicated situation, just as many situations are. I don't think we're ever I'm not defending anybody, definitely by any stretch, I'm not defending anybody, but at the same rate, we always say when stuff like this happens, we say, man, the police have to do better. The policing community has to do better. Law enforcement needs to do better. And we look at law enforcement or policing as if it's this like separate entity from the rest of society, or if it's these group of people are not regular people. When we say the cops got to do better, well, who are the cops? Who are the law enforcement officers? It's me, you, it's all of us. It's not, it's not me, it's not you, but it's some of us. It's somebody's daughter, it's somebody's son, it's somebody's dad or mom who's in the force or whatever. They're regular people. So it sucks because, again, I think policing in general it's one of those jobs where, and I thought about this, I'm like, how do we remedy this? How do we actually, because it's, I don't want it to just be like, well, this is bad. Obviously it's bad. But how do we make sure that it's happening way less and it shouldn't happen at all? But how do we make sure that it happens less? I think, again, through communication, through listening, and defunding the police definitely doesn't work. I'll tell you one thing, defunding the police doesn't work. I think this is perhaps one of the results of defunding the police, because then you get removal of good men and women on the force and then replaced by others who probably aren't qualified. When you lower the standards, when you take away the funding, I think these are some of the stuff that happens. What I would suggest, and again, this is just, one of the things that I was thinking of, I'm like, why don't we invest more money in policing, but not just for the sake of policing, doing police activities. I wish we could reimagine policing. I wish we could reimagine law enforcement so that it's not only used in times of emergency, if that makes any sense, and I'll elaborate on that a little bit. I wish there was more resource, and we do have resources. When we send millions and billions of dollars worth of money and weapons overseas to fund whatever war, we have the means, we have the resources. I wish that our policing, I wish that our law enforcement agencies and departments got more money so that they could do more with the money. And what would I suggest that, and again, this is just one guy, this is one little teeny tiny, and maybe it's not worth even considering, but I would like to see, in an ideal world, or not in an ideal world, because not an idealist, but to make a better situation is what I'm trying to say. Is I wish that there was more involvement between communities and law enforcement agencies and departments. A simple idea. And when was the last time? I don't know. I've not witnessed this, but when was a time where a police department just held a barbecue, a community barbecue, maybe on a monthly basis, or on a quarterly basis in a year, where different parts of the city throw down their own. Every jurisdiction's got their own little districts and their own little precincts and what have you. When was the last time that the community engaged with the law enforcement community when it's not a time that they need to be engaging? Does that make sense? Because anytime anybody calls 911, anytime anybody calls for a police officer or emergency services, it's in times of dire need. It's in an emergency. And, well, what kind of relationship does this build? It's like, okay, we're only going to assign these people to come and give us assistance or be present in our lives in the most dire and horrific circumstances. What do you come to expect of those individuals? How does the community interact with these individuals who are in policing, who are in law enforcement on a regular, if they only see them in that black uniform, if they only see them with their shields or their weapons and they're always out there solving crime. And again, this is probably a little bit maybe far-fetched at this point, but we got to start somewhere. And I think in terms of, well, what do? We're always like, oh, the police needs to do more. Well, we say they should do more, but we at the same rate say take away their money. Oh, defund or I don't believe in that, because I think if you, again, take away the funding, dismantle the units, it just gives them less resources to work with. Imagine they had more resources to work with, and imagine a portion of their job actually required them to go out there and do things that aren't traditionally policing. Again, a simple thing like maybe throwing, just an idea, maybe a dumb idea, but I'm just saying, imagine a monthly or a quarterly barbecue or a gathering of sorts where members of the community were openly engaging with law enforcement, not just for the sake of seeking assistance in terms of an emergency, but going out there and just like having a conversation with Officer Tom or Officer Nancy, and just, you know, and them maybe being able to let their hair down and maybe show another side of themselves and interact on a different level. And I don't know if any of this makes any sense, but for us to be able to say we need more change or we need change, but us as a people or as a community not willing to do anything to be a part of that change, it seems a little bit irresponsible. It seems a little bit one-sided. Again, not saying any of this to excuse whatever happened. This is horrible. This is, you know, 5 individuals who just, you know, just inappropriate in all, you know, in all manners, inappropriate in all manners of conduct, unprofessional, and just, you know, lack of words, really. I don't really have anything to say to that. I hope that they're dealt with accordingly. Having said all of this, I think, yeah, there's definitely money that should be going to finding better ways of bringing communities together, rather than, you know, spending millions overseas or billions overseas, spending money on weapons and this, that, and the other. And then when we look at our own neighborhoods, when we look at our own backyard, we're like, oh, well, I wonder why this happens. Well, maybe it's, you know, maybe it's time we do start to think a little bit outside the box. And how do we, and again, maybe the barbecue thing is a little bit of a dumb idea, but I'm just saying, how do we engage the communities, different portions of the community together? And I think it takes a little bit of money, a little bit of effort, and a little bit of willingness to do things a little bit different, perhaps. And not to say that there's, you know, and I'm not an expert on anything, I'm just saying, viewing this, I don't think you're ever gonna, and I do want to say this though, I'll say this, a lot of times when incidents like this happens, we here in the West, in Western society, we're really privileged, because this doesn't happen on a regular, it does happen. Of course it's happened before, this isn't the first time this sort of incident happened, but in the grand scheme of things, when you look at it, when you compare place to place, like, we've got it really good. And despite the fact that, yes, horrible incidents happen like this, it is not a, it shouldn't be a way that we think of all of law enforcement, because for the majority of our daily interactions, we don't see these things don't happen. And yeah, I just don't want there to be like, I don't want this to be a perpetual thought of, oh, our society's in peril, our society's at odds with itself, we are divided, whether it's in Canada or the United States. I don't believe these are true. I believe there's definitely horrible events that happen. But again, if you look at it and compare it to other parts of the world where there is police brutality on a regular basis, on women, look at a place like North Korea, or look at a place like Iran, where, you know, it's the military police essentially goes out there and beats women, children. There's no discrimination on terms of like, oh, we're only gonna, you know, beat you up because of your skin color, this, that. No, there is a complete world of difference between real police brutality, and not to say that this isn't police brutality, but I just don't want us to lose perspective, because it's easy to see these stories and be like, man, the policing here is like this, that, and the, but like, if you had the chance to travel anywhere else, go a little bit to districts or regions where it's not so bueno, and you're like, holy crap, this is, thank God we live in a society where absolutely it's not perfect, but we've got, we've got room to talk, we've got room to listen to each other, and build better together. I don't know if any of this made any sense, and again, my condolences. I don't mean to in any stretch of the imagination make light of the situation, but I do want us to think of alternative ways instead of just pointing fingers to one another and be like, well, yeah, those guys need to fix it. Well, it's us, it's all of us together. That's all I got to say about that. I do have to, as a, oh man, this part's, here's what it is, fam. Okay. Initially when I have to try to find the light in the situation as well. I can't just be, that's what I try to do. I try to find the light in spaces where perhaps maybe there isn't any light, or maybe there's a little bit of light. If we may together, I think, hold on, let me get a sip of this for a second before we proceed forward. Proceed with caution. I think when initially maybe people heard the news, or maybe when people initially heard the news in the US, maybe even in Canada, maybe places that are similar, but mostly in the US, I would say when people heard the news, I would imagine when you hear, man, there's been a young black man that's been beaten to death. I think man, how do I say this? Okay. Trying to find the light, baby, trying to find the light. Point is that when you hear something like this, I think as the white population in America, or maybe even Canada, would be like, man, when you don't know who's behind it, when you don't know who did the beating, you're like, man, just let it be anybody but white. Just let it be anybody but white. But just let it be anybody but white. And then when you hear it's 5 black police officers, you're like, horrible circumstances. It was one of those moments where you're like, low key, you're not going like yes, but like, I'll explain it like this so that it makes sense. Every time there is and I hope obviously this type of stuff doesn't happen, but every time there is a terrorist activity that goes on in and around this world, the brown man deep down inside, before anything is unraveled and, displayed to the public, you're like, man, just let it be anybody but brown, anybody but brown, anybody but brown. And then if it's like, and then you find out like the terrorist activity was actually like, let's say it was a white guy and it was domestic, you're like, yes, domestic white guy. And they're like, no, horrible, but like, there was a little bit, and I think there was a little bit of, in this particular instant, because anything these days is so easy, like the media especially is what I'm trying to tell you, that it likes to jump on stories and be like, another case of racism, another case of, well, this is clearly, unfortunately, it's 5 black police officers that went down and took the life of another young black man. And again, initially hearing about it, if you just heard a young black man got killed by 5 police officers, I think if you were white, because of just, maybe not even white, anybody else but white, you're just like, man, just, does that make any sense? Man, I don't even know how I said this. Jesus Christ. Okay. Point is, I think it's very relatable in terms of, again, like when you see terrorist activities going on and then around, is anybody, oh my God, this is horrible. Jesus. It's just when bad things happen, you're like, as long as it's not us, but we're all us. It's all of us. We're all it. Good God. I'm working on the wording of this, and again, this is not an easy topic. I do apologize in advance if it's, but because that's what it is, man. That's what it is. Jesus, it's domestic. It's from the inside. It's from the inside. It's not us. Or something along those lines. I'll have to still work on that. That needs work. I'm not gonna lie, that needs work. I was working on it over the weekend, and here we are. Okay, moving forward. Good God, how does it happen? Oh man. First day back, and we do not shy away from topics, ladies and gents, boys and girls. Let's I'll say this. Let us come together. I believe last week was the MLK Day or MLK Week, and many of you guys out there, many gals out there, have probably seen the MLK statue that has also gone up. It's, man. It looks like you guys know what it looks like. It looks like a giant turd. It looks like it looks like two hands are cradling a giant turd, or a large black hack. That's what it looks like. And that also made me think of people and how we should just not make anybody more. Here's the thing, that I believe it was like $10 million spent on it. It's a horrible, ugly piece of, just aesthetically ugly. If we can, not send some of that money to Ukraine, and just, because as a person who's, I love art, all sorts of art, and I like things that are visually pleasing, aesthetically pleasing. Please somebody change that. Somebody make another better statue. Rather, here's the thing. I would say my initial thought, people should not be getting statues. Moving forward, people shouldn't get any more stuff. People should just not get any stuff. Like, there should just be one person who gets a statue. His name, Jesus Cristo. One dude, statue, fucking makes sense. Or, Jesus, and then there's maybe like a, okay, if you're gonna give it to Cousin Teresa, then fine, MLK gets one too, but make a better one. Can we get another 10 million just to replace it? Melt it. You don't need a full 10. Dude, I'm telling you, you give me a good team of people with a 5 million, I bet you we can make something way better with 5 million bucks. I'm just saying. But in general, here's what I'll say. Sure, give people statues. Give people statues because people deserve statues. Statues deserve people. I'll say this. I'm a nobody. For whatever, miraculously, let's say in this lifetime, miraculously by accident, let's say miraculously by accident, I do something that to the public seems worthy of applaud or whatever, by accident, because I don't really know what I'm doing in life. For the life of I don't know what I'm doing for the most part. I really don't. So for whatever reason, let's say the public decides that I've done something that is worthy of applaud or a statue, and after I pass away a million years from now, because I'll be botted up. I'll be here till another million years, bitch. Point is, I fade away after a million years, and the public's like, you know what? Let's build that guy again by a long stretch of just for whatever fucking maybe I accidentally tripped and fell and saved a couple of babies who were also in the way, and I was just trying to break my fall, and I happened to I didn't even notice their babies were also falling at the same time simultaneously. But sure, did my fall break the fall of the babies, and I ended up saving babies, and I'm now I'm like the patron saint of saving babies for some reason, accidentally, not on purpose. And the public's like, let's build him a statue of him falling and catching babies or whatever, saving pregnant ladies or something by accident. Because a lot of my life is just accidents happen. Point is, you're like, let's build him a statue. I'm just saying, don't. I'm not saying, like, again, me, I'm a nobody. There's probably like a slim, there, legit like 0.0000000000000000000 chance of me ever getting a statue. I don't even want one. But one of the biggest reasons why I don't want one is because of the MLK statue. If people are gonna be doing that kind of statue, no more statues. No more statues. Okay? That's all I'm saying. Make it a better one. Now that we have to make a better statue. That is a hideous statue. That cannot be the representation of MLK. The man had a dream. That is a nightmare of a still. Like, whoever just, what happened to just like looking at things visually and be like, man, that's visually pleasing. You know, something ain't right in the art world. If you're creating that and you're like, man, that's beautiful. If you're looking at that MLK statue, and I've tried to look at it from different angles, like trying to be like, I had to get it off my chest because he's not here. He's no longer here. So other people have to, you know, stand up and be like, let's make another statue, please. Or like, you know, and that's the thing. From now on, if you're gonna be building statues for anybody or painting anything out there for anybody else, there should be, I don't know how it works, but there should be a committee of people just like looking at this thing and be like, is it visually, aesthetically pleasing to the masses? Can 10 people agree that it looks nice? And don't be just like a bunch of yes men and yes women being like, yes, of course it's, we made it for MLK, so that's why it's good. But is it genuinely good? Just because you made it for MLK doesn't mean like it's good on itself. It should be good art. That's all I'm trying to say. And I hope this is all clear. Difficult topics. Good morning, boys and girls. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me today. It has been, I'm just glad to be back. Sending you all love. Let us work together. Let us come together. Let us clean up together after we've come together, because that's if we all come together, man. That's a lot of come if we all come together. You know what I'm saying. Baby boys, baby girls, where can you find these videos, ladies and gents? Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on Instagram, on YouTube, and on patreon.com/RobSadri. Yes, we are taking it one small step at a time. We are just trying to, you know, do the best that we can together. If you're out there just trying, salute to you, sir, ma'am. I'll be back here again on Wednesday. I love you all. Thank you for being a part of my life and letting me be a part of yours. Talk soon. Take care of yourselves. See you soon. Bye. Peace.